right, welcome back everybody. Today we're going to do a quick update on Verasity VRA. Always one of the most highly requested coins, so I like to keep you guys updated on this one. Very important and critical point. We are looking decently bearish here right now, so I'm going to give you guys some updates on chart price predictions, and then also cover some recent news that actually ends up on the bullish side for VRA. So that's the agenda for today, and let's dive right in. First thing I want to do is start out on the weekly chart. So what we want to notice right here, and why I'm starting here, is because the chart formation that led us to this kind of really red weekly candle that put us down, another 20 or so percent, 15%, is we can clearly see that a head and shoulders formed here. And that was validated when we broke below the neckline, which was the half fib right here. We broke below that convincingly for multiple days, almost an entire week. And then we saw that drop, pretty heavily here in the last few days. So I just wanted to show you guys that from a wider perspective, how prominent that head and shoulders is on the weekly. And again, that is a bearish chart pattern more often than not. But now I want to go over, now with that frame of mind, with that context, I want to go over to the daily chart. And again, you're going to see that head and shoulders right here as it played out. And then, like I said, we broke for now what seems to be about 3 days into what I've called here the danger zone in previous VRA videos. And that is because that neckline break is kind of what sent us viciously down here these last few days. And right now we're severely battling this 0.382 fib at about 2.5 cents. And what we have to see is a very convincing bounce and a stand on top of this. I personally don't think we're going to see that. Just to take a step back for a moment, I think when we think about what Ethereum and Bitcoin have done recently, and then also in terms of macroeconomic pressure, the Fed rising rates, we can't ignore that. Just because the chart might suggest a bounce or just because we want it to happen doesn't mean it's going to happen. I think things get worse personally for Verasity before they get better. Doesn't mean I'm not long-term bullish on the project. So what I do think is going to happen here, since we have validated the head and shoulders, I believe a realistic next target is going to be down here at 1.8 cents. Typically, when you validate the head and shoulders below the neckline, you find the next fib support, which would be down here, and that is 1.8 cents-ish, 1.9, just under 2 cents. So what I could see happening here, and obviously it's not what everyone wants to hear, but what I could see happening is a kind of fake out bounce here, because as you can see down here in the RSI, actually this is going to pull it up. If you see down here in the RSI, it's rare that we stay this oversold, right? So, obviously we came here and we came oversold here, and we saw, a bounce essentially every time, and that related to a bounce in the chart right here. And so given that we're going to also look at the RSI and given that it rarely gets oversold, I'm going to kind of say that we're probably going to do a fake out bounce here, correct the RSI, bring it over here, and probably see a corresponding bounce between these fibs. I think we might do that for a little bit, and then I think we'll probably dump below that once we can't convincingly break above this. Obviously, anything can happen, guys. This is crypto, but I think we do need to be more realistic. This chart, at least in the short term, is looking pretty bearish. Long term, I'm obviously still very bullish on VRA, but let's kind of point to why the dump may happen and kind of putting it into perspective. So let's say we do have a dump down to this fib, and we'll draw out a quick line here. Let's say we dump down to this fib. The other thing that I wanted to note about that is that technically if we drop down to that, from a long-term standpoint, we still have a nice continuation bullish uptrend right here, right? So even if, we do that kind of fake out bounce, come back down and bounce off of that 1.8 cent level, that's all right. Maybe we ride that trend back up like this and, build some strong consolidation, and that is okay, right? You got to remember with these altcoins, if you're trying to trade the short term, more often than not, you're going to get burned, right? It's really hard to predict what's going to happen. So I hold and stake a majority of my altcoins. I make sure that I'm fundamentally confident in what they're doing. So as you can see, actually, as we're speaking, we are not looking so good on this fib. It looks like we're actually going to wick below it. I think we might get that bounce, like I said, that fake out bounce and then come back down. But again, zooming out, that's not that big of an issue, guys. Okay, so we're still going to be on that bullish continuation trend line. And obviously, in my opinion, I think 2022 is actually going to be a pretty rough year for crypto, given what the Fed's doing. I think late 2022, late 2023 would be another time to expect near all-time high, probably into 2023. So right now, really, we're just trying to damage control with VRA. We do not want to fall below this line, and especially not below this support right here at about 1.6 cents. So this is kind of our revised danger zone, if you will. I know my lines are a little bit crooked, but if you look at this area, let me pull out a rectangle over here. If you look at this area, this is kind of our revised danger zone, right? We don't want to be falling below this. I mean, that essentially breaks the bullish trend line structure and means we're going to have to go through an even longer period of consolidation before we move back to the upside. So that's another thing to keep in mind. But I would say short term, Verasity is looking a little bit more bearish than bullish, but obviously zoom out and always when in doubt, zoom out. So that's kind of what I'm seeing with the chart in terms of short term action. Long term price predictions, really, I think we need to be focusing on where the fib retracement has us, and that would be at 21 cents. Even then, I don't think we're seeing that in 2022 for Verasity. Right now, we really just need to dig ourselves out of here. The next really critical point is 4.5 cents. Look how many times we've gotten rejected there, right? So if we pull this back up over here, rejected, 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 that's going to be key, right? So that, first of all, getting on top of that neckline, establishing support there, and then the next big resistance level, in my opinion, is going to be 4.5 cents. But I don't see us going back up to 4.5 cents for quite a little bit of time. I think, again, we go down before we go up again with Verasity. But long term, 10 to 20 cents, I think, is what we need to be playing for. That's what we've seen based on the fibs, and especially given how much trouble ETH, Bitcoin, and all of crypto is it right now, technically speaking, and price action speaking. I think 10 to 20 cents is a pretty fair prediction for Verasity whenever this crypto cycle kind of finds its end. But right now, like I said, we're going to be going more red than green in the short term for Verasity. So now, since we've covered that, let's hop in over here. Actually, one more thing I wanted to touch on is the moving averages. So before and sorry to kind of hop around here, but I think this is important. You want to notice that the 200-day in general has been a pretty decent bouncing area for VRA. You'll notice that also in other altcoins. It doesn't stay below too long. So this is about, almost exactly a month it was below the 200-day moving average. And then after that, we rocketed up. I could see something like that playing out here, right? We have a lot of work to do. Like I said, I think we're going to drop below this and have to consolidate again, come back up here. And who's to say that this plays out right here, almost exactly the same right here, right? You could see that and see how powerful this breakout becomes when you stand back on top of that neckline, right? So here's the neckline for that under 200-day moving average, and I'll clear this up a little bit. I'm sorry about that. So you guys can see. So you can see that neckline right here on that fib. Look what happens once we stand on top of that, right? I mean, it's just, and then again. So that's kind of what we need to happen. And it's okay for this to play out longer term. It's okay for us to consolidate a bit. That usually means that the pump is going to be stronger. So again, I think it's going to look something like this, in my opinion. And then hopefully, we get above this neckline and start running again. But to reiterate again, I think more red than green here in the short term. So now to hop over to some recent news. This is actually pretty exciting because Mark and his team have been kind of talking about this for quite a while. They recently announced a rebranding of their website. And I gotta say, it looks pretty good. It is looking really good. So what they've done is essentially made it a lot clearer for people to understand what Verasity does and actually come and become a part of the ecosystem, right? So they've kind of built it out for use cases. Are you gonna use VRA for esports? You're gonna use it to validate views with proof of view? Are you gonna use it to just stake the coin, right? So they're starting to break this down. If you remember the old Verasity website, it was kind of messy, right? If you didn't really know what Verasity was, it'd be really, really hard for you to understand and learn about it. But now they have this all broken down for you, very, very clear, and you can kind of go through and explore Verasity and its use cases for yourself. And again, this makes it a lot easier to onboard new clients. It makes it a lot easier for people to understand and invest in the project. So it's a big win long-term for VRA. The other thing I want to mention is that they had a big partnership just about a week ago with a company called Brightcove. So Brightcove Marketplace is a video entertainment and video ad marketplace, and Verasity is going to be brought in to actually verify these video ads when Brightcove is working with their customers. And they have over 3,000 customers in 70 countries. So if Verasity is able to make this partnership work, if they're able to collaborate with those 3,000 customers, this could be a huge opportunity for them. So another thing that I wanted to mention here is that Brightcove represents 50% of the global distribution, as well as controlling some $200 billion of the world's $400 billion ad market. And so Verasity has a lot of money right here, a lot of opportunity to grab. It's all about the execution, and that's kind of what Verasity followers, the Verasity community has been waiting on. So really excited for that. Other thing I wanted to mention is that Verasity has been recently added to the Coinbase potential listings on CoinMarketCap, among a lot of other good projects like VeChain, Helium, and Cody. So a lot kind of coming here for Verasity. It's been a long haul. I think I'm very, very bullish still long term, but again, like I said, we have some work to do here in 2022. But very exciting to see that listing. We have a Binance and Coinbase rumor around VRA in terms of listings, but nothing has been confirmed by the team themselves. So that is all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what other projects you'd like me to cover. In the meantime, be healthy, be safe, and thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.